welcome to The One Show with Matt Baker.
And as Al is away for a couple of days, please welcome Michelle Ackerley. Michelle! First time on The One Show, it's happening, we're live.
We're live,
and
we're
you're going
doing
for
it. Yeah, that was a lovely welcome. Thank you very much, guys.
Pleasure.
You know, I feel at home.
Good.
Now, I won't be going too far to call tonight's guest British entertainment royalty, who says that these days she much prefers staying on her West Sussex family farm than going to a showbiz party.
She is certainly a woman after my own heart. Please welcome Julie Walters. Oh, Julie. I love your rural life. I do.
What do you know about my rural life?
Well, I know a lot. My day has been full of sheep. Dogs,
It's you in the
chickens.
bushes, isn't it?
Oh, God, no.
Sorry, go on, say
No,
it.
I was just going to say, what have you been up to today? What jobs have you been doing?
What, on the farm?
Yeah.
No, I've not on the farm today. I've been up selling my television show. National Treasure, Channel
Yes.
4, 9 o'clock, next Tuesday.
So farming's not for you, then?
Well, and I love living there. It's quiet, it's peaceful. I love the wildlife. I love the smell of it. I love everything about it. But I don't do any of it.
When you say it, what do you have on the farm?
What do we have?
Yeah, what stock?
Well,
have you
we've got cattle, Sussex cattle, about 40.
Lovely.
We've got sheep, about... How many sheep have we got? 200, 300 sheep? I'm not sure how many now.
It's a lot of sheep.
It's a lot of sheep.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
sheep,
good.
that.
It is. 700 chickens and
Perfect.
several pigs.
Well,
And I'm
do you
not
know,
talking about the family, stop it.
I'm forever drafting guests for Country File here, so we should maybe come along and do something.
Really?
Have a chat after the
Do you
show.
fancy it? Anyway, you don't have to say
All
anything on
right.
it. We'll keep it quiet for now.
I could trot out and feed an orphan lamb or something.
There you go. It's the kind of stuff we
Collect
love.
an egg or two.
We'll move on from that for now, because tomorrow would have been Roald Dahl's 100th birthday, and schools all across the land
sounds nice.
are celebrating with a Dahl fancy dress day.
So if you're desperately using your imagination, get it, to make a costume, maybe, you know, you might be wrestling with an Oompa Loompa or trying to sew your 6-year-old into a giant peach, put down your needle and thread just for a second and send us a photo of how it's going, good or bad.
And we will show some of the more swashbuckling ones a little bit later on, when we will also have our own special Dahl birthday treat. Yes, we're going to have a performance from the hit musical Matilda a little bit later on. See, you'll have a live show.
That's it.
Perfect.
Before that, Justice Secretary Liz Truss has refused to confirm whether the government intends to go ahead with the prison reforms announced in the Queen's speech earlier this year.
Well, former prisoner-turned-journalist Raphael Rowe, who was cleared on appeal in 2000, has been back behind bars to see how one prison is already starting its own education revolution.
Her Majesty's Prison, Swaleside, a place I spent 3 months in as a young man. It's currently home to 1,100 prisoners, and 35 of them are being offered an opportunity that was unheard of when I was here.
A lot of people break in prison unless they've got something to hold on to.
I could be in the cell, wasting my time, watching TV. I know life will change for me out there.
Here in Swaleside, there's an ambition to change the way education is taught in prison. They hope that by inspiring prisoners to learn in a more positive environment, it will empower them and stop them reoffending. With almost half of all prisoners in England and Wales reoffending within a year of getting out, there's clearly room for improvement when it comes to rehabilitating offenders. So here, they're redeveloping the prison's A-wing to incorporate an education academy. Addy is one of the prisoners determined to make the most of the new facilities.
See, the difference about being on the A-wing is that once I'm out from a cell, I then make my way down to the open academic self-study area.
And that's the key about what's happening here, that you live on the same wing that you study on.
That is the best part of being here. You spend more time studying now.
Addy was jailed for drug importation offences. Now he's studying for a degree in accountancy.
This is dedicated to self-study.
So the onus is on you.
It's on you.
This Open University education programme is the first of its kind in the UK. Prisoners get to choose what course to take across a broad range, from GCSEs right up to Masters. The environment they've set up here is very different from anything I experienced when I was in prison. You just didn't have these resources to educate yourself. But most impressive is the fact it's run by prisoners, for prisoners, and that is very different. Free prisoners are in charge of running the academy and are on hand to provide support for their fellow inmates. Anton is the lead coordinator. The prison authorities have asked us not to show his face.
Prisoners learn from prisoners much more than they do learn from staff. They're willing to listen to prisoners much more.
And is that key?
100%.
Why?
As soon as you tell somebody that they should do something, automatically a guard comes up. A lot of people, it takes them back to sitting in a classroom, being told by teachers they had to do this, they had to do that. It's better to suggest, and it works much better.
Today, Anton's running a study session. What's really unusual is a room full of prisoners studying together without a member of staff. No prison officers in here supervising what they're doing, which gives these guys a huge responsibility. Another student of the academy is Marlon. He's studying business management.
It took me by surprise that I'll be so interested. I jumped to the opportunity because it gave me something to hold on to and something to better myself.
So just tell me a little bit about what it is that you're studying.
I looked at business management, and then that course spoke to me because I was in for drugs.
What do you mean? Explain what you mean.
How people would drug deal carry similar characteristics. Marketing, distribution, sales pitch. You can actually use that model to actually do something legit with.
And what about the future?
I'm not worried about criminality because I'm not going back. There is more money to make legitimate if you educate yourself than criminality could ever offer you.
Traditional prison education is generally available for only 2 sessions a week, with no access to learning facilities outside that time. Here on A-Wing, the academy is always open. The man behind this alternative approach is Swaleside's head of learning, Malcolm Whitelaw. Would you like to see this model replicated in other prisons? Why?
Absolutely. Because you can't change anybody, but you can provide an environment where change is possible. And that's the key. Once someone decides they're going to change, you need to nurture that.
Malcolm hopes to open the academy to prison staff too, which would see them study side by side with the prisoners. It remains to be seen if the Wing Academy will ever become the norm in our prisons in the long term. But the students I met here at Swaleside say it's life-changing.
The reason for reoffending sometimes is that there is just nothing out there for them. You go back to your ways. I know life will change for me out there because of my qualification.
It's about people turning their life around and now doing something right to better themselves when they go out in the community. If that's not a success story in itself, then I don't know what is.
Well, looks like it's working.
Exactly, prisoners doing it for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Julie, you alluded to it earlier on. You've got this new drama on Channel 4, National Treasure. So basically, you're starring in this with Robbie Coltrane, and he plays this celebrity that's accused of historic sex offences.
Yes.
You play his wife, who sticks by him. We're just going to have a little look at a moment of the pair of you sat on the end of the bed talking about the investigation.
Okay.
Here we go.
Not going to be cheap, this, you know that.
Well, we spend whatever it takes to get you off, don't we?
Do we? I know I've not treated you well at times. But you must know, I didn't do this.
I believe you.
Now, this is a hard-hitting drama, isn't it, Julie? And we've seen with various recent scandals that image of a wife sticking by her man. What struck you about this character and those kind of situations?
Well, fascination. I was just fascinated. And when you see those cases, several of them, you're immediately fascinated by the partner and what's going on between them, what's going on in her head. And it was just very well written as well by Jack Thorne, and just a very complicated. All of the characters are very multi-layered and complicated. And she's a Catholic, and she's a good person, and she's strong, and she forgives him his. When the show starts, we find out that he's been unfaithful to her throughout their marriage. So. But she gets over this by thinking of it as a weakness. He's just weak. He's a weak man, and you know, and she allows it, and you know, so long as he's honest with her and doesn't try and do anything behind her back and everything. So it's really the whole 4 episodes are as much about faith, you know, and doubt and family.
You've got this family drama that's played out in front of the public,
Yes.
and that's the thing that's incredibly intriguing about, you know, all these cases that we've seen in the past.
Yes.
And as Michelle was saying, that image of wife and husband going through this.
It highlights that emotional struggle, doesn't it, and how that kind of impacts on the family dynamic.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the first episode, she's just in shock, really. Suddenly the door opens on a jolly day when everybody's happy and there's a policeman there saying, you know, we're here to arrest you. And so that's what that's about. But it is about that struggle, between did he, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, she says, you know, infidelity is one thing, but this is something entirely different.
And you're starring in this with Robbie Coltrane.
Robbie, yeah.
I mean, did you have much fun on set?
Well,
I mean,
we had to, didn't we?
Did you?
We've
Yeah,
got
'cause
to
it
have
is
some
a bit-
laughs in the show.
Yeah, because of course you worked, well, you kind of worked alongside him in Harry Potter, didn't you, playing Molly?
We kind
Molly
of
Weasley.
did, yeah, playing Molly Weasley, yeah. But I mean, over the 10 years, there were probably 2 scenes where we, for a split second, were in together, because usually it was the massive Hagrid that was in them.
Yes.
If he was in ours, you know, it was the great big chap, not Robbie. So, so I felt like I knew him when we met, you know, to start rehearsing. We had the luxury of rehearsals for this, and so on the first day, I've met him over the years, you know. So it was lovely. It was him. It made me want to do it, seeing that they'd got him.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
We've heard, and this is brilliant, that Robbie Coltrane actually got some of the younger actors to sit down and watch you in Acorn Antiques. I just love that image.
Yes,
Sit down, watch this.
I know. I paid him quite a lot.
Well, you can give us some cash now, because we're going to play a clip to the viewers watching.
The fact is, Mrs. O, my life seems completely grey, bleak and pointless.
Well, yes. Sometimes that's God's way of getting you to enjoy Gardener's World.
How much fun did you have that day on the set?
Oh, God, we had huge fun. We were always in trouble for laughing. And there wasn't a live audience on for that part of the show, so, you know, sometimes it would take forever to get through stuff.
Just
Laughing and shaking, and the director would come down and tell us off, you know, and it was really good fun.
And, I mean, it's interesting when you look at your career there and then the serious stuff that you're doing. I mean, but you must enjoy that mix.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I've been really fortunate to be able to work with great people for a start, and do great comedy that's such good fun, and then be able to I'm really lucky.
Fantastic career. Now, just a reminder, National Treasure begins next Tuesday at 9 o'clock on Channel 4.
Now, our Paralympians have been doing a superb job out in Rio. So far, 58 medals have been awarded, putting Great Britain on target. Absolutely, to beat the record haul from London 2012. I was gripped to the early hours of this morning.
It's been good. It has been good, and it's not only a testament to the hard work of the athletes, but also to the precision engineering that helps many of them realise their podium potential.
On Saturday, Andy Lewis took home Great Britain's 13th gold medal of the Paralympics as he put in an incredible performance to win the para-triathlon in the event's debut at the Games. While the discipline is new, this isn't the first time that British athletes have competed with these carbon fibre replacement legs, commonly known as blades. Despite losing his leg in a motorcycle accident at 16, Andy has never let his disability get in the way of his sporting ambitions.
It took me quite a few months to be able to run on it properly. It's all about taking small steps. I'm still learning now. It's a bit strange when you first put it on, for sure. It's very springy, like wearing a pair of moon boots. It's just getting used to that bounce.
Running blades were invented in the 1970s. Their unique design allows them to act like the missing calf muscle, behaving like a spring, compressing and bending when weight and pressure are applied.
The socket here is made of carbon fibre. On the back there's a valve which releases the air. This is the hydraulic knee cylinder unit. The carbon blade there, you can also get ones that come with spikes. I requested to have this Union Jack draped over it, and I've seen kids with football logos, Spider-Man, Batman.
Andy's blade costs approximately £15,000 and is designed for running and sports. The blades are made by a specialist German prosthetics company, but the process for getting one fitted starts in a UK consultation centre.
I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you. I'm Kira. This is Anna.
Good morning.
I'm a middle-aged housewife. I lost my leg 15 years ago. I want my children to not see it as a negative thing, having a mum who's an amputee.
These springs are just manufactured with a varying thickness and stiffness depending on what you want to do. So we'd ask you what your target is.
I used to love running, and part of it is I want to keep fit. So I would love to be able to do a 5K.
People who are doing 100 metres, they want to be really explosive, so they want fast acceleration. So they're going to put a lot of energy in very quickly, and they want it back very quickly, and that needs a stiffer blade.
Okay.
If you're jogging, then you're not using quite the same mechanics, and you just want a nice, comfortable run. So it is giving you energy, but not so it's firing you forward all the time. What we'll get from you is your weight, and we'll take some measurements of your leg length and things like that.
Once a client's measured, their orders are sent here. Duderstadt, a quaint German town that has been home to prosthetic technology for nearly 100 years. In 1919, a man named Otto Bock started engineering artificial limbs for the large numbers of injured veterans from World War I. Today, thousands of amputees have arms, legs, feet, knees, hands and running blades made here. Kira's running blade will take 8 hours to produce, and it all begins with this roll of carbon fibre. The customer's measurements are used to cut the precise number of carbon fibre strips needed to produce the required stiffness. The carbon fibre is carefully glued layer by layer onto a mould, the fitter ensuring there are no air bubbles and that it is perfectly straight. The mould is wrapped for the kiln, which heats it to over 150 degrees for 4 hours. The heat and pressure setting the carbon fibre layers into one strong unit. A machine then drills holes into the spring, allowing the blade to be fitted to the knee. Finally, a pressure test is conducted where a force of 2,000 Newton meters is applied to the blade. It is now ready for delivery. Back in the UK, Kira has been trialling her blade for 2 weeks.
So what I'm looking for is whether your weight is falling in the right place on your foot, because that's going to give you the response you're looking for. So you've got a little bit more weight on your left than on your right, but you're looking in a really good spot at the moment. Okay, so lovely. Good.
I'm not aspiring to be anything amazing. I just want to live a full and active life and enjoy myself to the best that I can. Ideally, I would like to inspire other normal people like me to try things. You might not be able to do exactly what you did before, and you might have to do it slightly differently, but these things are possible.
Yes. Well, that was about 3 months ago, and Kira is here now to give us an update. We saw you trying the blade there in that film, but tell us a bit more about the challenges you face getting used to it.
Well, I think it's just very different from the other leg. It's very springy. It's also slightly longer, so it's sort of readdressing the balance, because when you're running, you're putting 2.5 times the force through the legs, so it's designed to compress, so that when you're actually running, it feels even. But when you try and walk on it, it's quite difficult.
Is it? Yeah. And so how far can you go now then?
I can do about a mile.
Can you?
Yeah, I can, but it took a while. The first time I ran, I think I ran for about 5 or 6 seconds, and I was absolutely exhausted.
Really? Now, you've got what you call your own protection package, or that's what you were given when you were first trying out the leg. Tell us a bit more about that.
When I went for the first fitting, they gave me this pack, and in it were wrist guards, elbow pads, knee pads. Oh, and, you know, I thought, really? But actually, you're very unstable. And if the knee gives way, you just fall forward. And if you step backwards, which I discovered the hard way, you also fall over. So in terms of sort of just protecting your wrists and things, it's actually really, really good idea.
And so what is the plan from here now, Kira?
Well, I had this idea in my mind that I wanted to run a marathon, particularly the London Marathon. But I didn't really realise how hard it was going to be. And it's not just about the physical energy, But any deviations you have in your gait when you're walking is magnified when you're running. So you then have to spend a lot of time to compensate that. But what I learned is as I was running, because you're putting so much pressure through and you're using energy, you start to sweat. So you then have to take the leg off and clean the sweat away. But because you're weight bearing through soft tissue, it can swell up. So then you can't get the leg back on. So, you know, for the first month, it was sort of a mixture of, do I take the leg off? Do I keep it on? Do I just deal with the sweat and see what happens? And you kind of get pains in different areas, and so you might get blisters, and then you work out how to deal with those. And then you might get sort of rubbing, because my socket comes all the way up to my ischial bone in the bottom.
Right.
And so you then have to deal with that. So it's literally small measures and making small adaptations all the way until you can get where you want to go.
It's a real process, isn't it? And it's interesting because, Julie, you've actually been involved in the Channel 4 Paralympics classification guide, haven't you?
I am. I'm Lexi Babe.
There you go.
And what have you learned as Lexi Babe?
Well, there are all these masses of categories, and having them explained is really important, isn't it? Because you often, half the time, you're sitting there thinking, well, why is that person in this, and what is the disability here? You just don't, you know. So it explains all that. But I was in the studio for quite a long time,
Were you?
and T4 is for athletes with, and it, you know, for hours, and so in the end it all became swimmingly, like, I don't know what I was saying, but it is a fantastic thing to have. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Well, Kira, we know that you've brought your children with you along tonight. We saw Anna in the film there as well. But you've picked a great day to come along to the One Show studio, because in a moment the cast of Matilda, the musical, will be performing for us live outside.
Looking forward to it. And the cast are all 10 years old, and we've actually got a picture of you, Julie, around that age.
Stop it.
Let's take a look. Was this your acting debut? Tell us a bit more about this. What was happening here?
This was... Yes, it was a Where did you get that photo?
Found it in the bush outside your...
Yeah. It was a Midsummer Night's Dream at Holly Lodge Grammar School for girls, 1961, something like that. I was 11. Anyway, and yes, it was the only school play I ever did. They wouldn't have me after that. And I played Moth.
Good role.
Yes, a good role. Strong role.
Strong role.
Well, I had 3 lines.
Julie Walters as Moth. There we are. Now, good news, everybody. This Friday, yet another new iPhone is being released. Hooray. Oh, thank goodness for that. And, of course, there's bound to be huge queues of people outside of stores anxious to get one first.
And we know this because it was the same in 2015, 2014, 2013, you're getting the picture, so on and so on.
I'm sure we all know somebody who is prepared to queue like that. But anyway, for Tommy Sandu, enough is enough. So if, like him, your head is spinning around with the constant upgrades, this is for you.
Do I look annoyed? Yeah, it's because I'm a bit annoyed. Because those people have only gone and announced another brand new phone, and me being me, I feel like I've got to have it. But why? I mean, what's wrong with this one? I've had it a couple of years, it does everything I needed to do, but now I feel like I've got to get the new one. Can't wait for the release of it and everything. Who's in control of me? Me? Or them? It's the Mega Turbo Nutter Super Pixel Double Camera Splash Resistant iPhone 7, and I, for one, just can't help myself.
But the top of the range 250GB model will set you back a whopping 919 quid.
Last year, 2/3 of UK adults bought a smartphone, and ownership in the 55 to 64-year-old age group has more than doubled since 2012. Do we really need any more? When did it suddenly get into, you need more, you must have a phone that does so many more things?
The game changer is this device here. The iPhone, the first one, it changed the mobile phone landscape forever.
Why is the iPhone 7 going to stand out? Why is everyone getting excited about it?
I call it the Hotel California of smartphones. Once you're in, it's really hard to leave. Look at your mates, you know, if they've got an iPhone, they'll get the next one and the next one. And Apple have this uncanny ability to bring in new features. So the new one, it's waterproof, it's dustproof, it's got this dual camera on the high-end one so you can do zoom. You know, lots of things going on, little things like the black finish. People are going to be, you know, that's going to be such a shortage of that. And that's what gets people queuing up. It's the phone they've grown to love, it does everything they want, and Apple have this kind of emotional engagement with their customers, which keeps drawing them to the devices.
Who's calling the shots here, Apple or us?
Apple.
Apple are telling us what we need.
Yeah.
I'm not like big on phones, so I just get whatever I can that's cheapest and works.
I think the phones are getting more expensive. It's pretty much the same as it was years ago, really, only a few minor upgrades.
I am not particularly interested in the iPhone 7.
Why aren't you interested?
I have a phone which is not an iPhone, which just is great and meets all my needs.
I'm one of those people that I will get the newest one as soon as it comes out. I just like new things.
Over the last 10 years, there's been plenty of good reasons to upgrade.
When you consider that once upon a time we needed all these things to get through our day, and now all we need is this.
So if there's going to be an iPhone 8, it better be revolutionary.
I mean, if it could teleport me, that would be quite good.
Right.
Because I do go on Southern.
Because of the bad railways.
Yeah.
Wireless charging would be great, so then there's no cables at all.
I want something that I can pop into my ear and they're discreet. I don't want some device to determine what my fashion should be.
Never run out of battery.
So never-ending batteries.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm going to have to break the news to my iPhone 6.
It's over. Yeah, look, we've had a good couple of years and we've had some great memories, some good times together, but I think it's time to move on. And it's not you, it's really not you. There's nothing wrong with you. And it's not me either. It's Apple.
Now, earlier we asked you to send in your Doll Day costumes and you haven't disappointed us. Check this one out. This is Charlie wearing a George's Marvellous Medicine bottle and spoon.
Go on, Julie.
Charlie.
And this is Erin from Northern Ireland as Mrs. Twit.
And we asked for a giant peach, and here it is in the shape of Georgia, covered in paper mache. But there we are, that's all we've got time for tonight.
Julie, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Remember, National Treasure begins next Tuesday at 9 o'clock on Channel 4. Tomorrow we're joined by Nick Knowles and Shakin' Stevens.
Now, to celebrate Roald Dahl's centenary is the Royal Shakespeare Company's Matilda the Musical, which you can see at the Cambridge Theatre in London. These are some revolting children.
In this world, children, there are winners and there are losers. You are small, shriveled, foul-smelling and weak. You are losers, children, and you always will be.
Just because you find that life's not fair, it doesn't mean that you just have to grin and bear it. If you always take it on the chin and wear it, nothing will change. Even if you're little, you can do a lot. You mustn't let a little thing like little stop you. If you sit around and let them get on top you, might as well be saying you think that it's okay, and that's not right.